As roads lead down south for the summer holidays, Cape Town has remained a tourist hub during the festive season. But are holidaymakers still choosing this picturesque destination? Halfway through the mid-summer season, local city officials are predicting record-breaking tourist numbers compared to the same period just last year. Here's a report compiled by CNBC Africa's Benedict Pather. He takes us on site to meet stakeholders in the tourism sector to see if the story behind the numbers is anything to go by.
Changes in visa regulations for international visitors versus a dwindling domestic economy tells two conflicting tales to the story of Cape Town tourism. For business owners such as Gavin, a co-owner of Baraka, a memorabilia store nestled in an upmarket part of the city, the past 9 years remained business as usual.
Yes, we've always tried to be a store both for locals and tourists. So, and through our store, we're trying to tell a South African story with an African flavor and a lot of quirkiness and happiness thrown in.
The store has done well over Christmas, a welcomed relief after fluctuating sales due to changing seasons.
Obviously, summertime is the boom time for us when we're selling. December month, definitely peak month, and almost on par with January, and then still very good in February, March and April. And then winter time, you know what Cape Town is like. People hibernate and spend much less, and there are much less tourists. But we do get tourists coming to us in winter time.
There's been an increase in the number of foreign visitors walking through his door.
We've been quite happy, but it's quite interesting because we've got very accurate figures due to our point of sale. Where December last, the previous year, 2014, it was 50-50% in sales for locals and tourists, and this year it was 60 tourists, 40% locals. So definitely a big increase in sales towards tourists.
Cape Town city officials say visitor numbers peaked over the festive season, with an increase in both local and foreign visitors. So what do they attribute to be the backbone behind this year's hike in business tourism?
With the rand weakening, more people have stayed home, and that means they've become domestic travelers, and Cape Town has become a first choice for many, many hundreds of thousands of people. So that, coupled with the fact that the weak rand also meant more foreign visitors were taking advantage, saw those numbers increase, I think, substantially. So it's been good to see Kirstenbosch, for example, 800,000 up to 1 million visitors, a 46% growth at the table, at the Robben Island Museum, Table Mountain, also seeing increases that have been very substantive. So as we consolidate these figures and we look at the overall impact, I think we're seeing quite a positive picture for Cape Town.
Meanwhile, authorities at Stats SA say the number of tourists visiting South Africa grew by 3.6% between 2012 and 2013. That figure dropped to 0.1% between 2013 and 2014. But do the numbers match customer experiences?
People are very friendly. You can ask whomever you want on the street. You will get an answer. People are smiling, and that's a bit different to old Europe, and I enjoy this very much. And of course, a lot of things to see, very interesting things to see. And I think Cape Town, it's really a mother city.
It's beautiful, it's safe, the air is crisp and clean. You get a taste of, all the different cultures that are here from the other surrounding African countries, and it's really a great experience it's been.
It's a city of where you can work and play. It's a nice place, especially around this time of the year, especially when you want some comfort in the beach, some cool weather and stuff like that, compared to the other parts of the country.
It works out pretty well for me. It's lots of stuff are about half as cheap, maybe 4 times as cheap, for example cigarettes, but that's it's really nice if you ask me, but it's way cheaper than back home.
Since I am local, I am from Durban, and comparing the prices, I would say basically I would feel Cape Town is more kind of their prices is for tourists.
The U.S. dollar is very strong, so you have an opportunity to experience a lot. So definitely a plus for tourism.
I'd also definitely come again. I'd like to come for longer, and I think if ever I've been, this is the one place I think I could probably live, just because it's a great atmosphere and vibe here.
Business owners such as Gavin are taking note of these insights as key learnings that affect their bottom line.
consumer confidence for your tourists would be, people would pick up a product and it will be just so much cheaper than it would have been a year ago, and that they would spend that much easier. While I think there's less sales for tourists, for locals, because consumer confidence for the South African average spender, that's dropped a lot.
A weaker rand is good news for tourists and businesses such as Gavin's. This handmade Zulu wire basket now sells for around $15 US compared to the same period last year when it sold for around 19. Therefore, a loss in currency value is translating into a gain in the number of tourists. Benedict Pather, CNBC Africa, Cape Town.